With that being said, I want to thank you for listening to the first episode of the Orange Wave podcast. I am your host, Will Adams, and I hope you have a great day. And remember, Jagmeet Singh loves you.
Did I really used to say that? Wow. I can't believe that's how I used to end my episodes. Welcome to Orange Wave, the series discussing progressive news, culture, and all things related to the NDP. I am your host, Will Adams, and wow, it has been a year since the very first episode of Orange Wave was uploaded. I can't believe it either. It feels unbelievably shocking. Ever since then, I have got to do so much on this series. So I figured, what better way to celebrate the anniversary of this series than by reacting to the very first episode with my face on camera. Oh. Yeah, I know, it's it's been a fun road. So to everyone who has watched the series, thank you. There's so much more to come. There's another dedicated episode that's supposed to release tomorrow about Jamil. I don't like Jamil. Yeah, funny thing about Jamil. I knew a kid in one of my grade 11 classes last year. And, Bud was a intern for the Manning Center or the Canada Strong and Free Network or whatever they call it now. So I knew about Jamil a bit before the by-election, but I only found out about him, truly, when he posted that ridiculous twofer video. And he kept doing facial expressions similar to the ones that The Rock would make. But yeah, you'll hear more about my thoughts on that tomorrow. This series used to be a Spotify exclusive. Okay, so... Oh, it's right here. I have... Okay, let's scroll all the way down. All right. Actually, you know what? It's been a while since I actually heard what this was. I kind of forgot what it was. So I'm going to play this as well.
Over the past 2 years, the right-wing establishment media has omitted all facts from their reporting, instead opting to go into identity politics to tell their stories, rather than actually reporting the truth. I feel that we need to get things back on track. My name is Will Adams, and I am the host of the Orange Wave podcast. We discuss politics, and we show our support for Canada's next Prime Minister, Jagmeet Singh. Have a great day, and remember, Jagmeet Singh loves you.
What the fuck? Wow, that was... Okay, that was better than I thought it'd be, but wow. It's been a while since I've done something like that. Not that I don't believe, of course, that Jagmeet Singh is undoubtedly the best man for the job, because Jagmeet Singh is undoubtedly the best man for the job. But the past few episodes have been about why the Conservative Party sucks. But don't worry. Very soon we will be discussing the accomplishments that the juggernaut has accomplished. Don't worry, it's coming soon. It's coming soon. I don't know if anyone's ever noticed this, but one of my friends contacted the NDP office, and I actually ended up getting this framed thing of Jagmeet Singh, but it's like signed. Yeah, I thought that was cool. Okay, let's react to the very first episode. Okay, so I've actually been asked on a couple of occasions what theme I use at the beginning of episodes. It's a copyright-free song called Embrace. When I was starting the series and like doing the production of the very first episode, which, by the way, nowadays I use a mixture of OBS, Flowblade, Audacity, and Canva. Back then, I just used Anchor and I recorded into my phone. So I was actually surprised that this sounded decent. But I just ended up going onto YouTube and searching up royalty-free podcast music, and I saw a playlist, and Embrace was the first song on there, and I liked it, so I just put it on there. So to whoever made that song, because I don't want to be disrespectful, but the name was weird, so I forget it, but I gotta thank them. Because that is my theme song.
Hello and welcome to the very first episode of the Orange...
Oh my god, that is horrible. That mic quality is terrible. What the fuck? Wow, okay. I was not expecting it to be that bad. Alright, let's keep going.
Orange Wave Podcast, a show where I discuss political issues affecting Canada. My name is Will Adams. And today we're going to be discussing how Jagmeet Singh, leader of the NDP, completely owned the Loblaws chairman and CEO Galen Weston.
Oh no.
Now, it is not at all a secret how Loblaws has made record profits during the COVID-19 pandemic. According to a CBC article from mid-November 2022, Loblaws Companies Limited had a profit increase of about 30%. A big part of that was not due to inflation, as Mr. Weston claimed during the committee hearings, and we will get to that later. But the reason they've made so much is because they have been price gouging up the ass, which has made inflation itself astronomically worse than it should actually be right now. Which has also had the butterfly effect of making gas prices go up, because when food prices go up due to things like greedflation, the price of the pump isn't safe either, because that's typically how inflation works. So that all sets the stage that Loblaws is not a company that plays fair. They don't pay their fair share despite being a multi-million-dollar company at the very least. They didn't give their employees, their frontline employees, pay raises during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Something I'd like to mention, because I forgot to mention it here, because I, for some reason, just didn't mention it. Galen Weston Jr. actually does lobbying to both Justin Trudeau and Pierre Poilievre. With Poilievre, it's actually a bit worse because... Well, actually, I don't know which one's worse. Trudeau is directly associated with Galen and has gone on record saying that he thinks Galen is responsible. But Poilievre, one of the people on his campaign advisory staff is not only his ex-girlfriend, but is also a lobbyist for Loblaws. Make of that what you will.
When they were risking their lives to serve us food. And I went to Loblaws the other day, and it costs over $40 to buy a pre-cooked chicken from them. How can Galen Weston claim that is inflation? It's not. He is...
I don't know why I cited chicken, but one time I was preparing to go on a date, and there's this when I'm in a relationship, there's this one brand of soap I really like, because it does wonders for my hair and makes it soft. Yeah, it's more expensive at Loblaws than it is at Walmart. But Walmart never has it, so I buy it at Loblaws.
Price gouging. With all of those things being said, the show of events during the committee hearing was absolutely spectacular. One of the best. It was the showdown of the century, in my opinion.
What the fuck? The showdown of the century. The showdown of the century. The showdown of the century. I don't know. I think Jagmeet Singh debating Pierre Poilievre next year is going to be the showdown of the century. I don't think this was. Honestly, if you had asked me what I thought the showdown of the century was before recording that, I probably would have said that scene in Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice where Batman says, "Men are brave." Wow, that was a bad Batman voice. Showdown of the century. Past Will, I hate you so much.
And it's going to be a story we tell our kids 20 years down the line. During the committee hearing, Jagmeet Singh did not shy away from the hard questions. The man, the myth, the meat himself was asking Galen Weston.
The man, the myth, the meat. Wow. That is... I hate that so much. This sucks. I hate this.
Weston, how he can justify the record profit increase when families cannot afford to feed their children, and how he can blame it on inflation. Now, I feel like it would be best for you guys to hear it yourself, so that's what I'm about to do. This clip comes from NDP Nation. Take a look.
That was formerly the name of Left Lane Media Group, which I am the founder of. Before, I just posted pro Jagmeet Singh memes. Now it's actually like a thing that it's like a thing that if you look at the rebranded Orange Wave cover art on Spotify, you know, my X header, etc., you'll see the logo. I also have a Substack for it that I write opinion pieces on, so link in the description if you want to read opinion pieces from me.
You for up to 6 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to set the stage. My question goes directly to Mr. Weston. Right now, we're not just going through unprecedented period of cost of living crisis. We have families going into your stores, looking at the price of items, looking at them and putting them back because they can't afford them. We have families that are struggling to buy food for their kids in this country, in a G7 country. And they look at you and they see you making record profits. How can you justify that when families are struggling to put food on the table for their kids?
Thank you. We feel and understand that
I get asked why I support the NDP and like Jagmeet Singh so much. You know, you compare him to his opponents. Jagmeet Singh is the only person who isn't a divisive hack and actually wants to help people. I actually got to meet Jagmeet Singh recently, and I got a picture with him. It was actually really amazing. I got to have a great conversation with him, and it's not an act. The dude's actually a really good man, and he stands for something even better. I might have been exaggerating a bit because, you know, at the end of the day, he's just a regular guy, but that's the best part about him. He's a regular guy. He doesn't act like he's above Canadians. Why'd I do that?
95% of Canadians are concerned about food prices. But grocery chain profits are not the reason for food inflation.
As 2023 Will stated, inflation, you know, when the price of gas goes up, the price of food goes up. And when you have a grocery conglomerate price gouging, which makes inflation worse, the food prices go all the way up here. But guess what? Gas can't just sit down here, so big oil is going to raise the prices too. This is why we need legislation against price gouging and such. You know, there are people I've talked to who believe that if Pierre Poilievre gets elected, that the price of the pump is just going to go down. It won't. Poilievre voted against legislation for big oil and big grocery price gouging, these companies will keep prices exactly the same and will just profit the difference. They'll still be making excess profits, but they're not going to be paying their employees livable wages still. Minimum wage in this country is not minimum wage in the sense that you cannot live off of it. We need to change that.
And as I mentioned,
Profit is too much profit.
That is a good question. How much profit is too much profit? Actually, what is Galen Weston's net worth? $2 billion. You see this right here? That says $2 billion. You cannot spend that much money in your lifetime. Galen Weston himself could pay his employees a living wage and still be rich. It would make a dent in how much money he has. Why in this country do we not have legislation that people like this have to pay their employees a wage that they can pay the bills on? I'm not exactly of the belief that someone who works at McDonald's should make the same as a doctor. I don't believe that. Unless I'm proven wrong on that, but I currently do not hold that belief. However, at the same time, the person working at McDonald's should not be in poverty. Because guess what? Someone has to work that job. Eventually, if it keeps going the way it is, it's going to get so bad that no one is going to work at McDonald's. Because think about it like this. In Loblaw's case, if Galen Weston Jr. takes a day off, the company can still function. Nothing happens. But if every single worker just up and gets out, makes a dent in his profits, he should be treating his employees better.
Well, so a company needs some degree of profit.
Record profits more than you've ever made.
Mr. Singh, I'm going to stop you there. Of course, your time is your time, and I can.
Well, so a company needs some degree of profit.
Record profits more than you've ever made.
Mr. Singh, I'm going to stop you there. Of course, your time is your time, and I can.
What the hell?
Record profits more than you've ever made.
Mr. Singh, I'm going to stop you there. Of course, your time is your time, and I can.
That's not supposed to happen. Obviously, Galen was right in the sense that you need to be making some degree of profit as a business. But $1 million a day in excess profits is far beyond the minimum required profit that he would need to stay in business.
And I need you to certainly be a little bit more mindful of making sure that is. I know it's your time, and I'll give you that discretion, but please don't cross lines here. So back to you.
How much profit is too much profit? You're making more money than you've ever made. How much profit is too much profit?
We're a big company and the numbers are very large, but it still translates right down to the bottom line at $1 per $25 of groceries. And if you consider our growth in profit in 2022 is 25 times lower than the unprecedented increases in costs that are being faced by the industry and by the world. And the fact that we have lower food price inflation in Canada than in so many other parts of the world is in part due to the
That's the same argument that Justin Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland give when they're asked about inflation. And they say, oh, well, it's not so bad here. Okay, maybe in comparison, it's not so bad here. But I, out and about, have seen people on the streets And I typically did not before. Obviously, that problem did exist before, but it's become more common. That's an oxymoronic argument to make, is what I'm saying.
High functioning of our food system here, and in part to the meaningful effort that is being made by the grocery store industry to keep prices as low as possible.
With respect, Mr. Weston, you mentioned this $1 per grocery bin. We can put a fact in front of you. Your company is making $1 million a day in excess profits. No one feels sorry for your profit margin when you're making $1 million, not just in profit, in excess profit a day at the same time that Canadians are experiencing the most unprecedented inflation in their lives. How can you look a family in the eyes and tell them that that's okay, what you're doing is okay?
I had a conversation with a customer in a store just the other day. She came to me and she said something similar. She said, how can you have such exorbitant profits? And I sat down. I didn't sit down with her, but we chatted for about 15 minutes, and I explained, what I'm explaining here to the committee, and she understood. And she said, okay, I didn't realize that. That's not the way it's being characterized, when I read the Globe and Mail or whether...
For some reason, I do not believe that this happened. I'm not calling him a liar, but I believe that he made that entire story up.
When I read the Toronto Star, and I said, yeah, I said, look, all I can tell you is that this is the truth. This is what's going on, and if we invested, if we didn't raise retail prices as costs went up, the companies that we operate would disappear almost instantly. And that's why this point about low profit margins is so important. 100% of the total profit of the industry could go into lower food prices, and the price of a grocery basket for that customer who I spoke to would still be $24. And that's not to say it's not important, but our
Galen said this himself earlier in this clip. His priority is making money. That he's rich. He's one of the richest men in the country. That's his priority. He doesn't actually care about the cost of anything on regular people. He grew up with family money. He's not going to understand what it might be like to put items back on the shelf because you cannot afford them.
Our ability to affect this change is limited. That's why we need all to work together.
How do you square that? How do you square what you're saying with the fact that you're experiencing unprecedented profits while people are struggling? How do you square that with the record bonuses that you and your colleagues are receiving? How do you square that with the excess profits that you're making per day? How do you square that with the record profits you're making year over year? How do you square?
That's a good question. That is a really good question. And an even better question is, why did Jagmeet Singh come to this, but why didn't Trudeau and Poilievre? I'll tell you why. It's because they're being lobbied by Loblaws, and Galen Weston is their friend.
Square that. It doesn't add up, Mr.
It doesn't add up. He's right.
Weston, I've got more than 2,000 people who submitted questions saying we are struggling while you're making these record profits. That explanation does not give any solace to the people that I've heard from at all.
Truly beautiful. Those words of wisdom and honesty damn near brought a tear to my eye.
Oh, I mean, I was crying before I recorded, but that's not the reason why. Like I was actually crying before this, but, bygones.
This, for the record, is how you school someone. You don't label them CBC or the liberal media because they disagree with you. You don't call them gatekeepers or cry woke or scandal. What you do is you bring up the facts, hard, cold statistics, and that is exactly what Mr. Singh did right here.
I was referencing the fact that whenever Pierre Poilievre is at a press conference, if a journalist doesn't ask him a softball question and it's not a journalist that works for the right-wing establishment media, he will call them every name in the book. He will call them woke. He will accuse them for working for CBC even if they don't. He will sit there saying that their questions contain falsehoods even when they don't. It's all about the framing. But Poilievre's cult of personality is has a support base that is so gullible that, okay, I'm certain that by the time 2025 comes around, let's say hypothetically Justin Trudeau makes another statement about the Earth being round, like he did in an episode that I made shortly after this one. Let's say that happens again. Poilievre supporters are the kind of people who will argue to hell and back that the Earth is fucking flat just because Trudeau said that it's round or a sphere. It's a complete identity crisis. And it's a complete identity crisis that the next episode focuses on. It's extremism mixed with being contrarian.
He called Galen Weston out.
Why do I keep shifting from calling him Galen and Galen? Galen, it's not Galen, it's Galen. Wait, is it? I'm pretty sure it's Galen.
On a lie. Pointed out that no one has sympathy for the big man after he screwed
the big man. The big man. The big man. Why? I don't know why that's funny. It just kind of is.
the country over. And brought up how the statistics Galen Weston brought up do not add up in any way to Loblaws' $1 million a day profit. How Galen Weston and his colleagues have made record profits for themselves and sit there and claim they have made literally nothing. Now, notice how Galen Weston did not actually answer Jagmeet Singh.
I could have worded that better, but what I actually meant was that Galen was trying to play victim to make himself look more sympathetic. That's what I actually meant. I didn't mean that he was saying he made literally nothing. That's not what he said. What he actually said, or was trying to say, was he was trying to spin it to make it seem like if he wasn't pocketing money, that he would go out of business. That's what I actually meant.
Singh's question. He put on a show of mental gymnastics, and Jagmeet Singh
That part is true.
was having none of it. He called him out on his lie, and it is the most glorious thing I have seen all year.
I will stand by that. Wait, actually, no, I won't. I've seen more glorious in 2023.
I think all of this is the real reason why Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives will not actually try to debate with Jagmeet Singh the way.
There have been several occasions. There was one time on X where Pierre Poilievre was being a hack, and Jagmeet Singh ended up, quote, tweeting him saying, "If you think this is the case, how about you come face to face and debate me?" And, you know, in the Durham by-election, Jamil Javani actually skipped out on a debate. Like, their platform is so poor that Jamil, someone who's a political commentator and should know how to strawman and make very vague, valueless arguments, Jamil's platform was parroting Pierre Poilievre's, and that platform is so weak that Jamil didn't show up. I'm actually calling it. I don't think in the 2025 federal election debate, Pierre will not be coming. I'm calling it. He just will not be there. Because if he does that, that will only hurt his chances of being elected.
Way they do with Trudeau in the House of Commons during questioning period. Because although they're quick to call him out on Twitter for shit that he did not do at all, they will not actually talk to him in the House of Commons because they know that Jagmeet Singh is going to school them. Because the way the Conservative Party is being run right now, they're essentially the party of cowards. They don't have an economic platform. They just want to cozy up on social issues, and
They want to cozy up on social issues very poorly, I might add. Identity crisis. In terms of economic issues, I still stand by that. The latter start of this year or the latter end of last year, I don't remember which one it was, Pierre Poilievre released the first economic plan for his campaign. It wasn't focusing on housing. It wasn't focusing on anything like that. It was focusing on carjackings, which is at highest a provincial issue. Yeah, he's wasting his time on stuff that is, all things considered, not his jurisdiction.
trying to steal the PPC's lunch, which is getting the extremist vote, the Trumpism vote, the racist, white supremacist vote, by the way.
Which is a small victory for Pierre. The PPC's support levels right now are at 1%, which is completely embarrassing, especially when you realize what their polling rates were at in 2021. The PPC is a fad party. Let's be real here. I could make an entire episode about their problems, such as the fact that Maxime Bernier is a hypocrite. He accuses the Conservatives of being unethical, but his big thing that caused him to lose the leadership race to Andrew Scheer was the fact that he kept classified documents at his biker gang associated girlfriend's house. And, you know, you look at there was actually a recent scandal where a PPC candidate who vocally spoke out against the ArriveCan app in his campaign. It turned out his company was actually investing a lot in ArriveCan. They have a vetting issue. I guarantee that you know, I brush my hair differently and I start talking about the Uniparty, I guarantee they'd let me run. You know, Chris Sky lost the Toronto mayor race. Maybe the PPC wants him.
Like, a bunch of NPs, including Leslyn Lewis, met up with Christine Anderson, a member of the European Parliament, and she is a known Nazi. That is a fact, and they had lunch with her. And Leslyn Lewis, instead of apologizing for that, clearly, like, she should have known that that was a thing, and she did. They were lying when they said they didn't know. Instead of apologizing, she decided, and Pierre Poilievre did this too, they decided to say that it's okay when they do it because Justin Trudeau did blackface when he was 20.
There was actually a situation later in 2023 where both Danielle Smith and Pierre Poilievre ended up taking pictures with someone wearing a Straight Pride t-shirt, which the problems with that are very clear. It's to an extent appropriating someone else's culture and more so mocking it. You know, because someone who's straight has never actually had to fight for the right to exist. They've never been discriminated against on the basis of being straight. Their life will never be harder because they're straight. Their parents will never disown them because they're straight. You know, when Poilievre was called out on it, he claimed that he did not know. One time he took a picture at a rally with someone who was wearing a pureblood hoodie, which the term pureblood is rooted in white supremacist ideology. Nowadays it's used by anti-vaxxers, but it is rooted in white supremacy. You know, Pierre Poilievre, he was like, I don't recall taking the picture, despite the fact that this was the one person wearing the most distinct outfit of the bunch.
And they completely forget the fact that someone like myself, I believe that it's both bad when the Prime Minister does blackface, and I also believe it's bad when the official opposition meets with Nazis.
I've been accused in my TikTok videos of being funded by the Liberals, despite the fact on several occasions I have called out JT.
And I mean the official opposition in the sense that Pierre Poilievre partnered with the so-called Freedom Convoy, bought them donuts, cozied up with Diagolan, was swapping spit with them until...
He did. He actually took a picture with the leader of Diagolan, and he posted it on his Telegram page, I think. Up until one of them ended up making graphic comments about Nadia Poilievre. Is that how you pronounce it? They're making graphic comments about her, and then Poilievre made a big-ass statement about it, as though he wasn't buddy-buddy with them like a week before.
Well, they threatened to sexually assault his wife, which I am in no way condoling. I am no way defending that. That is
condoning.
Completely awful, and I hope that Pierre and his wife are doing okay. But that's kind of what you get when you side with those kinds of people, and you try to make them your friends. Pierre Poilievre is... I've heard people call him a populist. He's not a populist.
With all due respect, I've learned throughout my life what it's like to associate with bad people. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. So I don't think what I said was exactly unjustified.
populist. Ron DeSantis is a populist. Pierre Poilievre...
I hate that. That's the one statement in this episode that I am retracting right now. Ron DeSantis is a fascist. I am retracting that statement, okay? That is the one statement in this that I am saying that, no, I retract that.
is a political opportunist.
I still stand by that.
Is a complete grifter, and he's adding to the Conservative Party's whole thing of they don't actually have a platform anymore. They're just going for the most... They're going for a leader who they think can be the most anti-Trudeau, and when they lose, they're just tossing him out the bin for random reasons. It happened with Scheer. It happened with Aaron. And it happened with Pierre. Although, when you look at the trajectory, their approval ratings get increasingly worse. Pierre Poilievre has a bigger disapproval rating than Stephen Harper, Aaron O'Toole, Pierre Poilievre, and Andrew Scheer did after their first 3 months. That tells you that someone like Pierre Poilievre, not a good leader. We should...
In March 2023, I think Pierre Poilievre actually did have a chance of winning maybe a minority government in 25. After that whole biological male thing that he ended up going on about with bathrooms and, pushing rhetoric that harms trans kids, yeah, he's not winning any elections now. Because Canada does not want this. A CTV poll actually revealed that the majority of Canadians do not agree with transphobic ideologies. Pierre should probably apologize and retract that before it's too late.
Shouldn't be voting for extremists, people who side with them. We should...
I forgot to put on Do Not Disturb when I was recording because I didn't realize that when you record on a phone, I didn't realize that the vibrations recorded too.
Be voting for leaders who are willing to hold the right-wing establishment media, their friends, and big CEOs accountable. The Liberals aren't going to do that. They're being bought out. They are being lobbied by companies like this. Same with the Conservatives, only the Conservatives are siding with more extreme people. There is only one person who is fit to be Canada's Prime Minister in the 2025 election, and his name is Jagmeet Singh, leader of Canada's NDP. And I guarantee that because people are going to wake up and realize that Pierre Poilievre is not the man for the job, that Justin Trudeau isn't the man for the job, and we are going to see an orange wave.
The reason I called this series Orange Wave, well, it actually solidified when I made that statement, but I did that inadvertently. That was inspired by the 2011 federal election where the NDP got a record amount of votes under Jack Layton, and they became the leader of the opposition. Rest in power, Layton. Rest in power to you too, Ed.
Guaranteeing it, and when that happens, I will go out onto the streets and I will dance wearing pro-NDP memorabilia. With that being said, I want to thank you for listening to the first episode of the Orange Wave podcast. I am your host, Will Adams, and I hope you have a great day. And remember, Jagmeet Singh loves you.
Did I really used to say that? Wow. I can't believe that's how I used to end my episodes. Like, wow. That was... Ugh. I hate that so much. It's so cringe. Like, it's... Ugh. I hate it. I hate it so much. Ron DeSantis is a populist. What the fuck is the matter with me? Okay, I'm feeling... Yeah, that was the very first episode of Orange Wave. And the series has grown so much from that. I now use a real microphone. And I actually got to meet Jagmeet Singh, so... with all of that being said, I want to thank you for tuning in to the anniversary episode of Orange Wave. If you like this series, please hit follow or like depending on what you are watching on or listening on, because it's a podcast. There is so much I have planned in the next year to come, and you will not regret it. No, that's not what I should end with. I should end with something more hype. Thank you for riding the Orange Wave with me, and I will see you next time.